The moons have done it once again. And yesterday was indeed the next full moon. And what do you know? Bitcoin rallying up massively. Rising its massive green cobra head above $72,000. Unbelievable. These are prices that we have not seen in more than a month. Unconceivable. We're all rich once again. Bitcoin at 72 or 73,000 bucks. I do want to say that while this rally is overall good, which obviously means that war is good as well, right? I do think that this rally is capped. I don't think that this is going to be like a runaway rally or anything like that, but it probably does have a little bit more upside at least. So ultimately, for the people who I already see in the background asking, is there going to be another chance at 60,000 bucks or maybe even lower over time? Yeah, I definitely do think so. I don't think that this is going to just run away from here, basically. I do think that at best, Bitcoin's going to be caught in a range on the lows, but in the short term, in the medium term, this is a time for a rally. Bitcoin's basically been straight down since what? Since basically October 10th. It's been quite some time since Bitcoin's had any sort of real rally here. And what's a few thousand bucks to the upside? Not much. Doesn't really change all that much. And hey, if Bitcoin gets to 80,000 bucks on this rally, I would just straight up tell you right now, don't think it's going to be going much higher than that on this current rally. So if you are in it for the long term, while I do still think that these are generally good value areas, you probably do get another run at like the mid or maybe even low $60,000 territory. Anyways, plenty to talk about today, as Bitcoin has actually had its first important move since, realistically January, I would say. This is based off of the where's my Revan ribbons? My Revan ribbons. There we go. Revan ribbons right here. Once again, getting this incredibly well. We can see that Bitcoin reclaimed the mid band on this. This was on Sunday's closure, and then immediately bounced off of it on yesterday's video. And what do you know, from there heading up into what would be the bullish target, this sort of red dotted band right here is going to be the sort of general trajectory in where I'd be looking for Bitcoin to kind of, rally up to and then pull back from. So I do think that we've probably seen the high of the day. If by some act of God it does extend a little bit more, then I guess the top side of that band would be the next major target. That's about 76,000 bucks. But I would say that's probably unwise to be gunning for on a day like today. However, after a bit of a short-term pullback, yes, I probably would be looking for those numbers to get hit. I don't think that that's super out of the question or anything like that. Like I said, in the short term, Bitcoin is poised to rally here. This thing's been like a fucking ball underwater for a while now. So let it have a bit of a bounce. Let it have a bit of a bounce, and people rejoice across the world as Bitcoin is up 5% after being down about 50%. It's the fucking meme. It's the meme once again. But there are plenty of things happening across the lands. We do see gold is continuing to maybe reverse here. I do think it's got some downside overall. It's playing opposite of Bitcoin and against traditional markets as well. More or less, Bitcoin trades as like a tech stock anyway. So, gold is the odd man out here, and I am still looking at this as very likely to play further to the downside. But unfortunately, I cannot call, fortunately, unfortunately, depends on your disposition, obviously. I really can't call this a major bull trap here until this thing is back down below the February 16th low at 48.42 and change. Now, I do think that there is short-term downside here, as it did take out 5,100 on yesterday's daily closure, but that doesn't necessarily imply that it's going to take out this low over here. So, do I think that gold's going to have a nice stint into the four handles? Yeah, very likely yes, but it's hard to get super bearish on it just yet. There is potential for that. And honestly, the big one is still silver, in my opinion. Silver is the one that really does look like a bull trap right here. It really does look like it's getting ready for a push back down back to like 70 bucks. There's going to be bounce along the way, obviously, but this one, a lot more textbook, in my opinion. Gold, not as much. So I'm really holding off on making any sort of more crazy calls there, or more, I guess, intense calls, if you will. But for right now, yeah, silver doing kind of what you would expect. And I am looking for this one to trade sideways and down from here. Gold probably plays a little bit of downside at least, but there's a lot of areas that it's very likely going to get some bounces from. Again, bounce doesn't necessarily mean a reversal, but you got to kind of weather the storm. It makes it difficult, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, before we get to the actual the heart of the analysis of the day, I'll read through some of these comments. What's up, Nimbo? Been a while, man. Hope all is well. I realize it's probably late as fuck where you're living right now, man. Creighton C says the ribbons are legit. They showed this move when everyone was looking lower. Yeah, man. I've been loving the ribbons. Honestly, they are massively underslept. We do offer free trials for it. There is a link in the description below for Teachable. In fact, I'll just run you through it because I do understand it's kind of like a little bit, it's a little bit annoying, a little bit difficult to do, and can kind of get a bit confusing. But if you just go here to the stream, let's see what it actually looks like. Is it working? It's not working. It's buffering. Oh God. what's happening here? Okay, there we go. Just go to the description. Boom, there you go. Find the link for Teachable. It doesn't actually say Teachable there, but it's a green one. And click on that. It'll bring you this page, yada, yada. You go to view all courses, and what do you know? From there, you'll be able to find the Rev and Ribbons when you view all products. Again, it does come with a 7-day free trial. You don't need any like special sign up or anything like that. It's right here. It's beautiful. It's lovely. And I found a lot of value in it, specifically, in recent times. I mean, for fuck's sake, man, this thing has made things pretty damn simple in terms of analysis. I mean, you can pretty much summarize my whole analysis just by looking at the Rev and Ribbons indicator for at least a short and medium term on the daily time frame. Whenever Bitcoin's above it, generally looking for, bounces to the upside and to play in that lower red band, the upper red band, and vice versa on the other side, which worked incredibly well on this downside move. So again, it just keeps you honest with alignment in the trend. So it's always going to be going off that. Not everyone's going to be a trend trader. If you're a scalper, probably not as useful to you, but hey, it doesn't just work on the daily. It also works on the monthly as well. The monthly bounced beautifully off of the green dot. So that is, again, the same one that we kind of do expect to get walked down by. But in this case, because it has had such a beautiful bounce off of that green dot, I do think that we very likely will see, this is not like a crazy statement anymore. It was maybe a little more crazy last week when I was saying this, but we probably do see at least a rally to 75 or 76,000 bucks this month. But like I said, I'm not looking for this to be a runaway rally. I don't think that this is going to just go straight back up to 100,000 bucks or anything like that. Again, if you're feeling the FOMO and shit like this, yes, I think you're going to be tested to the upside. I think it's going to take some time, but I don't think this is the last time that we've seen a 6 handle on Bitcoin, for example. And I still think that there is a possibility that Bitcoin does go lower. If we do, if we do fast forward, I don't know, like 6 months from now, it's definitely possible on a straight wick. But this is starting to look more and more like a bottoming area. It's just, I would be really defensive in, over the next few months of like a quick wick to the downside of like 53,000 bucks. I don't know, maybe it comes off the back of like a tactical nuke being launched. Hopefully not. The jokes are bad today. The jokes are very bad. Gallows humor for a little bit of a start to this Wednesday. But yeah, maybe get something like that. But that's probably not a March type thing. That's probably somewhere down the road. Probably not even worth thinking about it as of right now. Hodl Travis, do you remember Parabolic Trav? Does anyone remember Parabolic Trav? You got to be a real OG to remember this guy. Great fucking guy. He was always going to be right, just a little bit too early. But yes. Anyways, where's my main chart? Yeah, there we go. I'll read through a few more of these comments, and we'll go through the actual Bitcoin analysis here. Just talking with Revan in the background as well. Ethereum says codes modes. Yeah, man. We actually did identify this at the end of last week. Ethereum looking honest. For all the hate that Ethereum gets, just objectively speaking, on the lows, looks a little bit better than Bitcoin. Just saying, man. Or the two GR lines. Wait, what? What about Hoy pictures? I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, sir. Curious about NASDAQ or GC with ribbons. I don't know. I've never used it on these things. I imagine it still works about the same. Maybe you need to play around with the settings a little bit better, but let's see what it looks like on a daily. Does it play technically or not? So I don't know. First, let's wait for it to load up. A little bit of a trap right there, but the mid band does still seem to be a good bias buster, as it does effectively judge the trajectory between the highs and the lows on this move. I mean, the lower band getting the lows, the mid band kind of getting the highs. Yes, there was a quick stand above there, but that is what a bull trap is supposed to do, get you a little bit off sides. Overall, I don't think it's as valuable, but it certainly does seem to play technically here. I mean, especially on these trendy moves, it absolutely does work. But when something like SPY goes sideways, you can see it work. It just doesn't work as well, in my opinion, as Bitcoin. But it is still working. So, I would say you probably have to optimize the settings a little bit in favor of whatever asset that you are looking at. But the Bitcoin settings do seem to be getting, most things right. So it's probably a good starting point. But yeah, operating decently there. Again, trendy moves, it gets incredibly well. That is what this thing is built for. During these consolidation moves, going to be a little bit chippy choppy either way, but I can still see the supportive resistance being accurately calculated by this thing. So yeah, man, I have nothing but good things to say about this thing after using it for quite some time now. And hopefully the people who've been using it as well feel the same way too, because I've been getting a lot of good feedback, which is awesome to see, man. Fucking love to see it. It's just one of those indicators that fucking works, man. It's just like caretakers RSI. These things are beautiful. They're beautiful for their simplicity in the way that they present information, and the fact that they just, efficacious, man. Anyways, Cosmo, the wonderful dog, says greeting, interested in cybersecurity here. Yeah, we'll get to requests a little bit later. Fight me, Crown, with your lady voice. Man, you've been leaving comments on my videos for like 6 months to a year saying the same thing. I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, God, man, just imagine like what sort of fucking World War III must be going on in your head to do that for like a year straight. It's like, it's so offensive, bro. You really got me, man. You really got me with my raspy lesbian voice.
You have lady voice. What voice?
I don't know, little fucking girl dog voice. Who knows, man? How high do you think we could go, says Worldview? Depends what time frame you're looking at, man. I do think that this rally is capped, though, certainly below 80,000 bucks. And I think you probably see a stop, around 75 to 76, to be honest with you. So, yeah. Anyways, let's see. Heard crazy stories out of Dubai. People paying 6,000 for a taxi ride to escape to Saudi Arabia. Wow. Or 250 for a flight. I don't really know why you want to escape to Saudi Arabia, because for all I know, they're getting attacked too, man. It doesn't really seem to be a better place to go. Maybe their airports are still working. Who the fuck knows, man? I'm not qualified to speak on that, for fuck's sake. Probably no one is, to be honest, but it is what it is, man. I do have a lot of friends in Dubai, and for all intents and purposes, they say it's business as usual there. So who knows? Who knows, man? Where do we cap for Ethereum? Who's we? Who the fuck is we, man? I mean, I don't trade that shit. I don't fucking own that shit. I don't want that shit, but I don't know. We could look at it in a bit. Let's get through Bitcoin first, though, man. We got to go through the important things first, and we can get to the shitcoin irrelevant pieces of garbage. Then we can do the Ethereums. That's how we'll do it here. Games Workshop for the Emperor. Yeah, man. They fucked up Warcraft, or God, not Warcraft. What is it? Oh, the name is escaping me. Warhammer. Yeah, they fucked that up real good, man. Real fucking good. All right, cool. Yeah, let me get my notes out over here. Let's see what, see what we got. So first things first, I actually do want to give a massive shout out here to MetaSignals. MetaSignals also fired off a little bit previous to this move. It fired off down here at about what, 67,450 almost. Target number one has obviously been hit at 70,500. That did have a very high probability at above 75.5%. Target number two is a lot lower probability. I personally think that this one does have a decent chance of getting hit. But like I said, between 75 to 80,000 bucks, I wouldn't be getting too greedy in that zone for the short term on Bitcoin. I don't think this is going to be a runaway rally, but technically speaking, $77,000 on this move does have a probability of about 44% to be hit. Target number three, I think, is more hopium. I don't think that this is likely at all personally, but hey, the data is what the data is. The stats are what the stats are, and that's 86,172, and the probability is 34 and 15. So, going to be a little bit of waiting right there. But yeah, if we are expecting this one to be hit, target number two on average would be hit in about 7.5 bars. Seeing that this is on a 24-hour time frame, well, that would be 7.5 days. And this one did fire off where? It fired off on the 27th of February. So I guess that would put us where? That would put us, I think, tomorrow. On average, again, these averages, they are going to sometimes be a little bit on the higher end, a little bit on the lower end. There's variance in these, of course. But yeah, I guess, somewhere within this next 5 to 7 day spread, I'd probably be looking for around there, if that's going to be happening at all. But, here's the thing. Well, I do think Bitcoin has more upside. 75,000 bucks. That's going to be your biweekly 5 EMA, and your 3-week time frame is going to be showing the 55 EMA around the same area, about 75,000. So if you do get a move above there, I think it will be short lived. I don't think Bitcoin's going to be like reclaiming that number on a consistent basis on a higher term time frame for a while. But again, just this rally alone is confidence inducing for Bitcoin, setting in its digging in its heels into the $60,000 territory for at least a major low. I do think that longer term, this one will rally higher, but and potential for a macro low as well. But again, I do think that we will see that area tested around the lows of February again. I want to be super clear in stating that, just because, this is going to be, even if Bitcoin does put in a low here, it's probably going to stay around those lows for a long time. I mean, shit, man, look at any other low in Bitcoin's history. It spends a month or more on the lows, and it should get rather boring. But yeah, it has been quite boring recently, and that is overall a good sign in my opinion. Moving on from there, let's see what else we got. Just referencing my notes over here. But yeah, the big one, of course, is Revan Ribbons. We already kind of alluded to this, but reclaiming the midband over here for the first time since January is a big deal. That did obviously get the rally up first to that $71,000 target. The dotted red area right here in the upper band is at 73 and 300, which is kind of where Bitcoin's at right now. I'm not really confident that Bitcoin's going to be closing above there today, but I would be looking for Bitcoin to play between this band over the next few days, and probably does reach that $75,000 target or so. But again, I'm not looking for much above there. So maybe like $76,000 at most. Hey, if Bitcoin does reclaim that region, then hey, I'd be more happy than anyone, I think, just because, well, I did do a lot of buying in the low $60,000 territory, but gotta call a spade, and I don't think that that's what's happening right here. Moving on from there, of course, everyone's favorite signal, the fucking moons did fire off. That one does give a kind of bias for a 14-day period of just general upside, and Bitcoin has been, well, basically up since that happened on Tuesday. Of course, when we go over to yes, this is the big one that I really want to focus on. So we have two major things here that could be working hand in hand. Again, it's assuming this one is confirmed, it does not imply Bitcoin's just going to run away to the upside exactly from here, but it does imply a big rally is likely to occur. Maybe after Bitcoin fleshes out these lows, once or twice more. I don't know how long it takes, but I would generally be expecting Bitcoin to have some pretty severe upside. And it is this. It is a combination of the Pesto Fear Index, which is a part of the LTI package, and the weekly stochastic oscillator. There's actually three things going on here. Two of them are massively correlated with each other, but the first one would be just general bullish divergence on the weekly stochastic oscillator, assuming that it completes the upside cross by the end of this week, which it will if Bitcoin finishes this week above $63,000, which is more than $10,000 away from current price action right now, which I'm going to go out on a limb here and say probably does by end of week. The same thing can be said for CME. This one closed on Friday, so it's a little bit closer to finishing this one, and it just needs to finish above 65,500. This one would have the same bullish divergence as well, so that is important. On top of that, we can see that the weekly Pesto Fear Index is coming off of extreme fearful reads. So you'd have what I refer to as like the beautiful picture perfect setup where you have extreme fear coupled with weekly stochastic momentum heading to the upside on bullish divergence as well. And that should be good enough to get Bitcoin, I would imagine, at least to the 50% retracement level from the previous drop off. So that would be just below $80,000, a little bit closer to $79,000. So regardless of where Bitcoin stops, I do think it's very likely to be somewhere in this pocket here between 75 and 79. And assuming this one fires off, we probably do see the deeper end of that pocket get hit in the short term. I'm not looking for the rally to continue from there before pulling back, fleshing out these lows a little bit better. So maybe it looks something like this, to draw out the LARP lines, comes up there, has a swift rejection back down to like mid 60s, does one of these, puts on another higher low, and then tries a nice upside move. If it's going to be a macro reversal, I think that's what it's going to look like. A lot has to happen before that becomes a realistic possibility, though. But it is still, more importantly, a possibility as of right now. That is the importance. Anyways, Walking Fear says, I've owned Bitcoin for 12 years or more, and none of these chartists know true moves of Bitcoin. Yes, no shit, because it's all about probabilities, you fucking brain-dead, dumb motherfucker. Holy shit. At what point do people fucking get this? It's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. Charts cannot predict shit. There is no predictive capability in charts. There's also no predictive capability in anything, by the way. You can, however, come up with probabilistic situations based off of previous signals and how they've acted. Oh my God, how is that so difficult to fucking understand? Why are you here, you idiot? You fucking moron. Oh my God. Jesus Christ, man. It is unbelievable. It is unfucking believable that people still think about this. But I get it, man. There are a lot of chartists out there who pretend that you can predict price action, pretend that you can tell what's going to happen exactly when. I'm here to tell you, after doing this as a fucking profession for more than 15 years, it can't be done. No one can do it. Literally no one can do it. I used to be a professional market maker, authorized trader in equity options. I'm telling you, it's all fucking probabilities. There is nothing in any way, shape, or form prediction. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Still, though, there are people who believe this, but I get it. There are a lot of people on YouTube who pretend that it is. But here's the thing. This is why I think options are so fucking powerful, because you can set things up in terms of probabilities. And that's exactly what I did here by shorting the put spread, the 61.59 put spread, 30 versus 10 times, expiring at end of March, basically. And again, all I need for this position to make money is for Bitcoin to stay above $61,000. It will pull in the maximum profit of 32,700. That's not so hard to set up. I don't need to be a predictive I almost said a very bad word. But I stopped myself. You don't need to be a predictive monkey, let's say. You don't need to be a predictive fuckface in order to set up trades like that and actually make money. That's my point here, man. That's my fucking point. Crown, why do you rage so often? It's just the imbalance in my hormones, man. That's what it is. That's what it is, sir. Anyways, yeah, so, we got that, of course. And then my long-term macro LTI buyer over here was also firing off buy signals recently. That one, again, from the first signal to the next major low, pretty much has always been about 20% here, here, and here. And we got the same thing over here. From that signal to the next low was 21.82%. So again, these sort of things do align well with at least a major low here, maybe a macro low. I'm very much open to that possibility until proven otherwise, but it's probably going to hang around these lows for a while. I mean, realistically, we're still like almost 50% off the fucking highs, so it's just still not that exciting, to be honest. Anyways, we need more rage. That's right, Ann Garcia. We need more rage indeed. Athos Fair says, I don't trade, only watch for the funny moments. Indeed, we have some of those every once in a while. My autistic rage takes over when I see something that is so lobotomized, so stupid, so unbelievably misguided that I just can't help myself, man. And that is my issue, honestly. I have a fiery personality and I can't control it sometimes, man. I can't fucking control it. But yes, that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin right here. Basically, short-term, medium-term upside. I think as much as $80,000, well, basically $80,000, maybe it's 79. But I don't think Bitcoin's going to run away from here. I do think that it's going to still be caught kind of on these lows. And if it is going to put in a macro low, that's something that will reverse in a real way later on, probably like a Q2 thing at earliest, but certainly not in March. Like, I don't think you're going to see Bitcoin at $90,000 in March, for example. Like, I think that's incredibly unrealistic, if you will. Maybe agree, maybe disagree. That's all good. But yeah, maybe $80,000, at which point I would be certainly looking for a pullback on Bitcoin. When we go over to traditional markets, we can see that NASDAQ and SPY continue to hold in there valiantly. And honestly, with the way that this thing is held up continuously above these previous lows, failing to close below it realistically, it does make me really consider that this thing is sitting in a base right here. Now, it will not confirm the reversal back very likely to previous all-time highs until you're back above this high from the 24th of February, which is 25,500 or so. If you do see that, then yes, I would say that correction's over and get ready for another run towards the highs at 26,350. And, while it probably pulls back there on the first pass, it's probably going to, reclaim it after a bit of a pullback and push its way ultimately towards $28,000 plus. We still have implied moves all the way up there. Probably an end of year type thing if I had to guess, but yeah, it's still there. Same thing on SPY futures. This one continuing to fail to close below those February lows. We've seen so many attempts, so many tries, and by failing to actually close below there after so many attempts, it is typically a good counter signal. In this case, probably going to try a bit of a rally from here. Still though, I would outline the importance of that 67.91 number, because if you do see a closure below there, then yes, I have to be looking for a correction down to 66 or maybe even 65 overall. But for right now, it's the same thing as NASDAQ futures. This sort of failure to break down, it's like it didn't go down for long enough. I guess you go up. That's kind of it, man. But yeah, for right now, actually NASDAQ's looking a little bit better on the buyback. This one does have not necessarily a bullish engulfing, but closing above yesterday's high and also Tuesdays and Mondays. That's going to be considered a good thing, obviously. So, and also this coming off of regular bullish divergence on the daily RSI. Same thing on Bitcoin, by the way. Bitcoin had multiple drives of bullish divergence come off these lows on Caretakers RSI. I think that you're at least going to see, yeah, that green 55 right there, and that is 75,350. So yeah, I don't know, maybe that move happens today, maybe it happens tomorrow, whatever it is, somewhere around there makes a lot of sense. A lot of things aligning with that region. Just, I wouldn't get super excited for a significant rally, a rally that significantly goes above these numbers. And of course, gold, like I said, well, we kind of already went over gold, so I didn't need to go over that. All right, I'm banning this person just because he is a, Jesus Christ, just insufferable, insufferable fucking weirdo, man. Really fucking insufferable. But let's see. All right, there we go. Okay, beautiful. All right. Where did my, oh, whoops, I had the wrong screen over here. Let's see. Okay, there's my chats. All right, I had my chat screens mixed up, so I was like, what the fuck, where is this one? Anyways, we got Tron Jeremy first. He has a really good question, actually. So what made you consider buying Circle and Gemini? It's down only, right? Yes, up until, well, yes, it actually still is down only. And to be very fucking clear, I have not bought them yet. I have not bought them yet, but I do have them on my list. He says, hardly dare to ask, but is it then fundamentals or is it just fun or are you mental? Well, maybe a little bit of, maybe a little bit of everything, man. Maybe a little bit of everything. But when it comes to Circle and when it comes to Gemini, I guess it would be more fundamentally based. I do think that Gemini will ultimately be a winner, as an exchange, just like Coinbase. Like, it's not that I just think they generally make sense. Circle makes a lot of sense to me because why? Because they have USDC, and if Trump's plan with making America the crypto capital of the world makes a lot of plays out in the way that I think it may, then USDC will be a big part of that. Why? Well, I think many people have already kind of went over this possibility of using USDC to basically get interest rates down by, well, making it very enticing for, foreign nations to buy USDC or buy, crypto. I don't know, man. It makes a lot of sense to me, but as far as this chart goes, yeah, you're right. It's a down only chart. To be fair though, Gemini actually does have a daily higher low in place now. Preferably I'd like to see a weekly higher low. And I do think that has more upside here. So I personally don't want to chase it just yet. It got really close to my $5.50 alert where I would have just bought it anyways. But yeah, I don't have a position in this one yet. I do think it has more upside here. I just don't think it's going to be runaway like Bitcoin. I think that you still get something like this. And if we get a higher low, something like this, that's where I'd be very, very interested in potentially investing in it. And Circle, same thing. Circle probably still down only. I don't think this one's had as good of a move as Gemini, but maybe I'm wrong. I haven't looked at it. Oh shit, it's had a way better move, way fucking better move. But again, same thing here. It's like I need to see a weekly higher low first. So yeah, I will be late to the party on this, but if I'm kind of drawing out the LARP lines here, maybe it comes back down for a higher low somewhere around like the mid 60s. If I see something like that and I start to see signals that suggest it's putting in a low, then yeah, I'll buy it for long term as well. But yeah, to answer your question, are you mental? Yes. Is it potentially fundamentally based? Yes, but I do not see what I need to see on the chart yet, so I do not buy yet. So when it comes to long-term investments, fundamentals make me interested, but it's not good enough in and of itself in order to buy. It is the chart that makes it buyable for me. So we don't have it just yet, but I am interested in it. So I'm just here patiently waiting, basically. Erica Foynmeyer says, thoughts on this theory? Asia session sets a range, usually 2% for Bitcoin. UK session sets a trend, and US session either continues a trend or reverses it. I mean, you should be able to prove it very easily if that's true. And I'm not going to go through that exactly right now. But hey, if you've proven that it's true, if you can show, I don't know, the same behavior going on for quite some time, then you don't need me to validate that theory. You've already validated it yourself. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it would make sense that the U.S. generally creates the trend. Why? Because the U.S. is where the major capital markets are, and that's where all of the major, Bitcoin ETFs are. That's where all of the investment money is. So generally speaking, that should be the session in which real direction is decided. The rest of it, I don't know. Asia doesn't really matter. Does the UK matter? I don't think the UK really matters, to be honest with you, man. It's like the all of Europe is just completely is only concerned with limiting themselves in the worst way possible. Just make each other as fucking miserable as possible. Let's degrowth. Let's make the quality of life even worse. That's what we need. That's what we want. It's good for the environment, bad for people, but great for the environment. And that's really what it's all about. Anyway, Steven Schickman says SMH daily weekly. Sure, man. Let's check it out. I know we looked at this one on Monday. Tom Lennon says hit the likes. I appreciate that, man. Probably that guy early is not going to be hitting the likes. He sounds very mad. Yeah, looking at SMH, you did have some bearish divergence right here. You could argue that it's already played out though. Daily time frame, I'm looking at this as your next higher low. I would argue the weekly divergence has already played out. This is your next higher low, perfectly on that green 55 EMA. You also see hidden bullish divergence on caretaker's RSI. I think that this one has next move back up to like 410, 420, whatever. Something like that, man. If we go to the weekly time frame, yeah, same thing here. Ultimately you're caught in a range on the weekly, but I do think your next move is to test somewhere around the top side of the range. Maybe as much as 420 in the short term, but I think at least like 410, something like that. Only bearish if it comes back down below yesterday's low. If it comes back down below yesterday's low, then yes, you do have some real downside, probably down to like 360, 350, whatever. But for right now, let it rally, man. You're getting more signals of rally here. By the way, I also completely whiffed on this signal for Bitcoin. One of the major things also that I think just is really conducive to kind of like a pity bounce here at the very least is the fact that volatility is now finally contracting. It's contracting for the first time since this move really began in early January. So, we're due for lower volatility regimes, which is why I did sell that put spread. And then more importantly, on a move like this, that should be a counter trend move. So that will be obviously a bounce. Pisa says, good morning, Crown. What's up, man? XRP4 on daily and weekly. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. So XRP is right here, 145. Should be bouncing with Bitcoin. Indeed it is. Do we have, no divergences on the weekly, but yeah, it's going to rally with Bitcoin too. Not as strong, but I see the same sort of drives of bullish evidence on Karatoka's RSI. So I'm at least expecting this move to get back up to 150 in the short term. I think more accurately, the target should be 160 or so. But similar to Bitcoin, I don't think you're going to see a runaway rally or anything like that here. If it gets up to 160, I'd probably be looking for a short-term pullback at the very least, something like that. But yeah, for right now, should be in rally mode. Almost everything, I would imagine, especially in crypto land, assuming that it has any semblance of value, which is very few of them, it's probably going to get some nice bounces here, and very likely tradable bounces too. Batman, he says, hey, Crown, nice call on Bitcoin. By the way, working on the old witchcraft I see. Indeed, it's funny how often this works out. It's funny how often that works out. Are you using cold storage for your long-term holds? I don't know if that's like a good thing to answer, but I'll put it this way. I don't think holding corns on an exchange is the wisest idea given all of the history that we've seen, with exchanges and whatnot. But, of course you need to trade. So I would say only keep as many corns on there as you're willing to lose. But yeah. Yeah. Anyways, your question is probability for $58,000 level. The only way to do this right now would be to reference the HPDR. It's not going to be the best way, but it's probably our, it is our best way. I just don't think it's going to be super useful right now. Right now, Bitcoin wants to rally, man. But, if we kind of zoom out a little bit, do I think that we could see down to 58, basically $60,000? Yeah, I think that might happen maybe in April, maybe in May, whatever. But it would very likely be, one of these where it just quickly spikes down and then spikes back up. That's kind of how I'd be looking at it. So I wouldn't get too greedy with these moves here personally. But what's the probability? Technically speaking, it is not super likely. You'd be all the way out in the 78.6% of historic returns range low at that point. I do look at this as a highly probable range. It just means that I wouldn't be expecting much lower than that, honestly, over the next month or two, basically. So yeah, what's the probability of it? It's getting lower and lower, but I guess technically if you're specifically talking about 50, 58 or 59, that'd be what? That would be about, well, it'd be 22 divided by 2, so 11%, I guess. I do think that it will get hit somewhere around there. Maybe not exactly 58, but maybe more like 63, for example, which I would say is like more than 50% probability, but I don't have math backing that up. That's just an intuition type thing. This would be more mathematically based here. Anyways, let's see. Cameron says, after watching for years, first time making a live stream. Hell yeah, man. Congratulations and glad to have you here. KRMN. This one sounds familiar, actually. Why do I know this? I think I have it on my list somewhere. Oh yeah, I have it on my list because it's a good chart. Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I like it. Obviously, things that just generally go up are good. And this thing just put another higher low right here. I do think that you retest this high at 102, 103, whatever. I'm not super confident that it's going to run back up towards these highs at 115, 116, whatever that is. I do think long term it very likely will. But don't be surprised if it gets caught in kind of like a lower range here and you're kind of already retesting those highs and then you reject from those highs, come back down towards these lows. It'd still be bullish in my eyes if it did something like this, drawing at the LARP lines. But I just kind of bring up the possibility of something like that happening. Overall, whether it does this or not, I do think you will end up testing this region again. It's just, does it do it straight from here? I think less likely, although daily RSI kind of does suggest that that's daily RSI kind of does suggest that that is a decent possibility here. So maybe I take back this statement. Weekly hidden bullish evidence. To be fair, we are getting more signals of upside continuation here from here rather than a pullback into a higher low and then continuation. So, I'll take the bitch way out and say that both things can happen. But yeah, technically there are more signals for this thing just going to the upside from here back to these highs. And yeah, I mean, betting on, upside for a thing that's only gone up since its inception from over a year ago is a good thing. I mean, shit, man, this thing did see some pretty tumultuous times and has held up valiantly. So yeah, I guess if I had to call it, I'd say up from here, but yeah, fair enough. Anyways, let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 6, and he says GE daily. Just one moment, sir. Awesome, man. Cool. GE right here. Okay, GE Aerospace. I think I have this one on my list too. Yeah, overall really good, man. Overall really good if you're in the long term. But you're saying daily and weekly. Weekly still good here, obviously. Nothing bad about this as long as you're above the last higher low, which is fucking 290, man. It's not super helpful. I understand, but that is how it is here. As far as the daily goes, does it actually just go to new highs from here? I guess it does seem a little bit aggressive to call for something like that, but I would be short-term bullish, I guess, looking for new all-time highs as long as it remains above this week's low, which is 329. If it loses this week's low, I think that you will see a correction down around like 310, 300 maybe, but that would still be a higher low. It'd still be overall good. I'll still be looking at that as like a very likely an opportunity. If I go to the monthly, this is bullish. So yeah, if I have to call it, I'm going to say up from here, man. New highs from here. This is really, really good, especially long-term. Yeah, beautiful. And just wow, now that I recognize it, this thing just broke above its previous all-time high from fucking the year 2000. So more than 25 years ago, freshly in 2026. That's a big deal. That's a big deal, man. Or sorry, it actually did happen over here. That was Q2. Yeah, Q2 of 2025. But my point is relatively recently. Yeah, cool. Derek Dombrowski says, "Hey, bro, got the trading Bible. Awesome, man. Glad to hear. Your content is invaluable. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Especially the live streams. I'm really glad to hear you're finding it valuable, man. And I really want the live streams to be like supplementary content to the trading Bible. So for the people again who are always putting in the real effort to learn this shit, I really want to do my best to kind of correlate that to the content on YouTube, so you can just get these continual reminders, continual checkups to kind of ensure that you're actually getting the information. By the way, I should let you know, from the Crown Trading Bible, I do have a couple of very big updates for the content. In fact, I almost have one done, but I want to finish the Options 101 playlist first, because that's going to be free. And I think it bleeds in well to the Crown Trading Bible, because the Crown Trading Bible also includes options. But after I finish that, then I will put those updates live for the Crown Trading Bible and a few other things as well. I'm going to really be working on the long-term investment section too, because I feel like there's a lot to say there. But one thing before the next, I feel so excited. Like whenever I have all of these ideas and all these contents line up, I just feel so excited. And it's like, you just want to fucking work, man. It feels good. It feels really fucking good. Anyways, you're looking at symbol BE. Okay, this is Bloom Energy. We've seen this Monday, and I think it's come up on a few other streams as well. Long-term, great. Short-term, also good. You're asking price targets for end of Q1, beginning of Q2. It's hard to give price targets on this because it isn't a blue sky breakout. Your last formation was right here. You could make some implied targets from this. It doesn't necessarily give like a date for it, for example, but if you get there, I'd certainly be interested in about 220 to 225. I think that you will have a pullback from those numbers. Does that happen, by the end of March? I don't know. I don't know. It's not so much about time analysis, it's about price analysis here. So if and when you do get there, I would be expecting a pullback, so on and so forth. Does it happen before end of month? Who the fuck knows? No way to know that. But for right now, it's bullish on pretty much every time frame. I have absolutely nothing bad to say about this, especially as long as it's above 140, for example. Below 140, yeah, I guess I'll look for a correction first, maybe down to like 110 or 115, whatever it is. But for all intents and purposes, all higher term time frames on this thing are bullish for right now. So yeah. Anyways, one moment. I need to oh, indeed, man. Indeed. Crown, we have to agree that Scarisol is really fantastic at his predictions, right? I know that that's a sarcastic comment. I actually don't know him that well enough to trash on him or to praise him. I just I'll say this: I generally don't hear very nice things, but whatever, man. It's not my job to fucking judge other YouTubers and shit like that, man. Like, they're free to do whatever the fuck they want to do, man. Hopefully people just pay attention and they realize what's going on, and It's real all that you can do, man. I'm not the fucking TA police here. And shit, man, I got shit wrong all the time too, man. It's all probability. So I'm wrong about, when it comes to YouTube, about 40-ish% of the time, sometimes better than others, to be fair. But, in a year, that means like that means like 4 months of being wrong straight. And that can be very, very awful, by the way. People get really mad too. But it is what it is, man. It's inevitable, unfortunately. It's just mathematically impossible. Mashik says Zcash short term, like a 1 in 4 hour. Okay. Zcash has the most illegitimate name. Zcash, like. All right. Anyways, Zcash. Okay. So specifically the 1 in the 4 hour, just like most other things, should rally more here. Do I think that it rallies up to like 250? Maybe something like that. Hourly time frame, do you pull back first and then complete that rally? Very possible. Might pull back to like 230 first, then rallies up to 250. But I don't think you're, in the short term, don't think you're getting much above 250 or 255. Just that 4 hour 200 simple here has been governing price ever since when? Since January. So have to be looking for a pullback on the first pass there. But yeah, if you're generally asking me if like, do I think that this rally extends a little more? Yes, yeah, I do think so. Maybe the hourly has a very short-term pullback, but I think that that's kind of inconsequential. This thing ultimately wants to try a little bit higher at least. Cool. Great buy hype says KDEF on the weekly and monthly. Sure. KDEF. Korean defense. Oh, that's cool. Koreans probably good at that shit. They're good at Samsung technology. Like it. Overall, I really like the chart. I do think that you have a short-term high in place, though. You'd also have, not only do you have what would be a doji dildo on heavy volume, you also would have bearish divergence on the weekly RSI of 1, 2, 3 drives variety. So I would be looking for a corrective period, but I do think that correction offers up an opportunity. So if it gets down to like 53 or 54 or 50, just low 50s, I look at that as good. I'm going to put an alert there myself. I generally like defense technology, and there's nothing to hate about this chart, man. So, or at least for me. So while I do think you might get a short-term correction, overall I'm bullish on this thing. Yeah, daily has a lot of drives of bearish divergence there. So I think you got to run at like low 50s, maybe fill the gap over here, somewhere between 51 to 54. But that's where I'd be looking for on a higher low. And hey, I just put an alert there. So perhaps I'll get a little bit of a piece of the pie as well. Osanamet says, GRT shitcoin, any bounces or is this dead? Oh God, I fear what oh God, man. Yeah, this is a 2021 shitcoin. Well, let's go into it with an open mind. You never know. Maybe it's great. Is it dead? Or are there bounces? I mean, look, even the most dead of dead things do get bounces from time to time, but trying to guess when those bounces are it's a very difficult game. I guess if there ever was a time for a bounce, this would be it. You got many drives of bullish divergence here off this low on caretaker's RSI. You got low volatility, and even the crown oscillator is turning up. So if it does want to have like these one-off spikes to the upside, I think best case scenario is the 55 EMA here at just over 3 cents. Ultimately, long term, is it going to make new lows? Yeah, this is absolute fucking garbage. This is just valueless garbage perpetuated by fucking crypto influencers from 2021 who are taking in allocations while pumping it up and telling all of their followers how great it is. Shit like this. Oops, maybe I'm not supposed to say that. But look, I don't have sponsorships like this from fucking coins and shit like that. I don't need to do that. So I can speak freely here. Do I think that this thing is going to have more of a bounce? Yeah, actually, I do. Do I think that this bounce is going to materialize into anything more than or resembling a reversal? Hell no, man. This is fucking garbage. And shit, the problem with shit coins like this is that it can reject at any moment. So while you do got signals here for upside movement, it's a lot more difficult to trust those than the downside signals. So if I were playing something like this, I'll just wait for the next downside signal and play that rather than try to guess where the next bounce is going to be. But I guess if there ever was a time, right now is it. Bitcoin's rally is conducive to that, but watch out if Bitcoin pulls back even 1%, this thing will get fucking shreked again. So yeah, do I think it's going to bounce? Yeah, it probably does bounce a little bit more here. I think maximum like just over 3 cents or something like that. The conservative cat says MicroStrategy daily weekly. Gotcha, man. MSTR. Nice bounce. Still think that it's got more to 155 or so. Is this going to be, there's actually a better low right here. Still no bullish divergence on the weekly. Maybe the 5-day has some. Maybe I'm just searching for signals to validate my bias, which is exactly what I'm doing here. But I do think that this thing has some decent upside here. I think somewhere between 180 to about $200 on this rally. This rally might take a month or two to play out, but yeah, I think that you found a low here. Basically, you found a low, might not be the low, but it's at least it's a low, and it should rally up next move. I think March is generally going to be a bounce month for a lot of these things, and you do technically have hidden bullish divergence populating here on Caretaker's RSI, and that should be good enough to at least get it to like 170. And if things get really crazy, I guess 200. So yeah. Bounce mode right now. Great Buy Hype says Amazon on the weekly and monthly. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. AMZN. I feel like we haven't looked at this one in a very long time. I don't feel as good about this one. I do think it might bounce up a little bit more to 220 or 221 region. This is a difficult one for me. Obviously, long term, it's among the best charts you'll ever see. Short term, weekly looks like it's a higher low. Monthly looks like it's going to reject at 220 and then come back down. What can I say about this, man? Look, if you want to give the weekly the benefit of the doubt, I totally get it. And I think it's a valid position. I'm going to take the bitch way out on this analysis and say, hey, 196 is a very, very important low. As long as you're above there, you could probably treat this as the next higher low. It is a gap fill as well. And, you are coming off of a very highly volatile move to the downside, the most volatile move in the past 100 weeks, it looks like as well. Could that be a low? I guess it could. It's just the monthly that's really tipping me off here because the monthly has 3 drives of bearish divergence. It only corrected down to the 21 EMA. Usually I want to see a little bit lower than that on a correction, but maybe it's just that strong. I don't know on this one. I would still be long-term bullish. And short-term, I think that you extend the rally a little bit more. The question is, does it reject at 220 and then take out this low and correct more towards 160 or 170 and then continue the rally? Or does it just literally put another low right here and, punish people who are being too conservative like myself? I don't know. And I think this is one of those times in the stream where I think a healthy amount of I don't know is the right answer. Long-term bullish, that is the obvious thing here. Short-term, if he had to put in a position, 196 is where I'd invalidate things, look lower, towards like 170 if that gets taken out. Until then, yeah, it's the bitch way out, but that's the best that I can do for this thing right now. Anyways, Mr. Escobar is next. He's looking at Stonk MSTX. Okay, so this is Defiance Daily. It's a 2x along my strategy. Oh God, I really despise these 2x, 3x things. But yeah, with my strategy bouncing, this thing should bounce as well. I don't know, 350, tree 50, something like that. Not a ton of history here. I think max in the short term would be the green 55 here on the daily, which is 430 or so. But somewhere between 350 to 450, or sorry, 350 to 430, something like that. But yeah, should rally more from here, as much as 330, let's say. I'm already up 25%. Hell yeah, man. Fuck yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome. Yeah, this thing, I mean, God, that is a big move already. It's 50% off the lows. So you bought probably somewhere around here at 225. I think it's a great position, man. I think you did really, really well. Super easy position to manage as well. If it comes back down below 250, take the fucking money and run. But until then, I don't have a problem holding this for now, at least. I think that you do go higher. So really, really well done, man. Congratulations. Cloud Abussi says, good morning, sir. Good morning, Choosewell. WMT, this is Walmart. This is Elsa's other favorite store. I don't like Walmart, though. I like Costco. Club Costco only for life. Elsa used to dream of going to Walmart, okay? Before she came to America, she said, I want to go to Walmart. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? And then, I spoke to many other Finns as well. They all mentioned Walmart. Why? I don't know. But they do. Target's better. Yeah, Target is better than Walmart. But they're different stores. I mean, Walmart used to just be for, I don't know, cheap shit. But I guess now it's better. I don't know. I've never really gone there. Cool. All right. So let me get back to this. Walmart, daily and weekly. Okay. Daily's not giving me a ton. I mean, long term, obviously, this is really, really good. Is it so good that I should be bullish from exactly right here? Fuck, man. I don't hate it. I certainly don't hate it. It's a super easy long to manage if you do take it. Look, if this thing comes back down below 120 and closes the daily below there, okay, you got a greater correction underway. You're probably looking somewhere down around 110 to 115. But generally being bullish from here, I totally get it. I think it's an easy position to be managing. I would confirm and validate that with a closure above the price action pivot at 128. Do I think it's going to do it? I think it's kind of a coin flip, but if you put a gun to my head, I'd say likely up from here. Likely up from here. Yeah, mostly based off of the monthly, but if I'm wrong, I will be very badly wrong on this one. But again, below 120, get ready for real downside. Until then, it's hard to hate a stock that looks like this, man. It's getting quite overdone here. It's probably not the rally is probably not going to last for that much longer. I would say, like best case scenario, maybe one more quarter, so Q2 of 2026 before like a big pullback. But I just don't like betting against stocks that look like this, man. More likely to go up than down. More likely to go up than down. So 120, big pivot point on this thing. Until then, I guess I'd be bullish. I guess I'd just be bullish. I shop local as much as possible. Yeah, probably better. Although, man, I gotta say, like the local supermarkets, like your regular, fucking Albertsons and Jewel Osco and Fry's and shit. If you shop there, you get absolutely raped with prices. It's actually insane. I don't know how people shop there frequently. For real, I don't even have to worry about groceries personally, but still, even when I see like the numbers at like an Albertsons, I'm like, what the? These are 2 to 3x inflated over Costco, and it's not as good quality to begin with. Usually, I mean, not always, but usually, it just blows my mind, man. Like, what the fuck? Who is paying these prices? Anyways, Crypto Shark, great name. Syrup, daily bounce more. I'll generally say yes without looking at charts to bouncing more, as long as Bitcoin's got more on this move. I'd say the same thing here too. You got a higher low potentially in place. How high do I think you can bounce? I think you're at least going to get to like 25, 26 cents. It's not that much further from where you're at right now, but I think that's pretty safe call in the short term. Does it go more than that? It's hard to love a chart like this. It's like the opposite of Walmart. This thing wants to go into down only territory, but I don't know. Can it rally up, to maybe 30 cents and put another lower high and then come down? It's possible. I am inclined to say you will rally up to closer to 26 cents, somewhere between 26 to 27, and then put in a lower high and then continue with the down only. But most things in this market want to rally right now. As long as Bitcoin's up, it's conducive to pretty much everything else being up as well. And, until Bitcoin really hits like 75 or 76, I wouldn't be even entertaining the possibility that this rally is over. And even then, I mean, it's probably going to spike a few more bars higher. It's just, is it going to run away from there? Probably not. Evo Gargoyle with Swords, great name as usual. Crypto CC, Canton Network. Okay, yeah, I remember we looked at this one like maybe a month ago and actually did not have a bad chart. It's kind of newer, so I'm curious to see where it's at right now. Yeah, this is kind of my fear with random crypto shit coins. Now it should bounce here, but it is interesting to see that this thing is playing opposite of Bitcoin. It's not rallying with Bitcoin. Now, to be fair, it did rally a lot when Bitcoin was going down. But you don't really want to be playing opposite of Bitcoin generally. But hey, do I think it's going to bounce here? Yes, I do think it's going to bounce around like 15 cents, 15 and a half cents. You're almost there right now. Should get at least something resembling a bounce attempt. But I think at best you're in a trading range here. You're in a trading range with your highs at 17 or 18 cents almost, and your lows at about 15 and a half cents. And you're probably going to bounce off these lows again. But does the bounce mean it's going to immediately go back to the highs? No, it's probably going to trade back to the middle of the range. And I don't think it's doing all that much. So I think at best, you're getting ready for some boring sideways here. At worst, you actually break below 15 cents. At that point, this thing goes into free fall down to, 11, 12 cents, whatever. But for right now, give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it has been generally pretty good in a time when most things have not been good in the crypto sector, at least. So that deserves at least some recognition, or deserves a lot of recognition, actually. Canton Network is Rand New's favorite from Crypto Banner. Fair enough. I mean, at least this one's been doing okay, so can't hit on that, man. Can't hit on that, I guess. But yeah, all right. Let's see. We are through all the super chats. Let me see what the what the regular chats say. Bill Altman says you can control the fiery personality. You choose not to. That is the answer, sir. You are taking a flippant comment on the internet way too fucking literally. Relax, my good man. Relax. I have to tell you, one of the most enlightening things about, speaking publicly on YouTube and everything is like, I will say things and then I'll read the response to some of the things. And I'm like, where the fuck did that guy get? How did you get that from that? And I've seen this with some of my friends as well, who also make videos on YouTube. They're like, man, people come up with like the wildest theories, the wildest theories on you off of like just a throwaway comment. It's like, yeah, I guess you're entitled to do that, man. But I don't know. Have you considered that it's just a flippant throwaway comment on YouTube that I didn't think about for more than 1 second? Whining will get you bonked. Indeed, it is. Zonkert says, if you believe 60,000 is the low for Bitcoin, can you show us the fibs for where the golden pocket is after it passes the previous all-time high? Okay, so you mean from the previous all-time high to what would be the low? Sure, I can. I don't think it's actually as relevant as the high from January, but I'll do as you asked, just to make it relatable. And your 38.2 level is 85 and change. Your 50% retracement level is 93. So what is that telling me? The 50% retracement level is kind of like where I would say, oh shit, if Bitcoin reclaims this, it's bull market on, baby. It's up only. But until then, it is corrective moves to be fair. Now I'm of the opinion that we very well may get something like this, bum, 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 bum. And then I think that would be super unforeseen and would make a lot of sense. But that's just an intuition thing right now. I don't really have much backing that up as of the moment. So, when I start to see signals, maybe I'll start to talk about that possibility more. But yeah, if the question is quite literally all-time high to $60,000 low, 50% retracement level puts you at about $93,000, let's say. The fib above all-time high to take profits. Okay, so you're talking about an extension then. Okay, yeah, we can do that too. Whoops, I just did it backwards. My apologies. I have redacted my own brain for now. So from there, your major areas of interest are going to be about 160, and then you got 190. And then if things get really, really, really crazy, I guess 225. Those would be the areas of interest, I suppose. Yeah, fair enough. Perhaps validity, but we have a long ways to go before that's relatable, in my opinion, man. But yeah, it's nice to look at. I mean, I'll sell you a fucking $200,000 call if you want. I'll sell anyone a $200,000 call right now. GH Tremezzo has a really good question. I appreciate the compliment, man. I really do. I'll just read this off. I don't want to sound like too fucking self-congratulatory. So I'll explain why this might be a little bit off base. Like, I'm not that good. Hi, I've been watching you for 6 years and find the way you explain your technical analysis some of the best on YouTube. I really do appreciate that, man. I hope to just explain myself the best that I can, and then if it plays out, it plays out. If it don't, it don't. But I always want the math to be correct, the probabilities to be correct. Everything else, is up to chance. Anyways, you go on to say, do you behind the scenes analyze company balance sheets for your personal stock buys? No, I don't do that actually. So I will look at some fundamental things, but what I'm interested in when I'm looking at stocks for long-term investments is actually the narrative. And then just super, super, super simplistic thinking. So let me walk you through why I like defense technology. In my opinion, or it's not really my opinion, I think that this is like a real fact, but defense technology, you always have existential buyers. Countries that need to buy defense technology. Why? Because it's in their best interest. Because if they don't keep up with the Joneses when it comes to defense, then what happens? Someone else builds up their defense or their offensive capabilities even better. And, it gets to the point where you don't even need to fight a fucking war because, like the other side is just so technologically superior. They will just roll over anyone who dares challenge them. And well, that's a real issue when you have real adversaries in the world. Now, I know we all want to say kumbaya, people are people and world peace is good. And look, I agree with these things. Like, I would prefer a world at peace rather than not. The problem is, and what I think a lot of people maybe don't consider, is that if you want peace and there is another country out there who hates you and wants to destroy you if they have the capabilities to do so, that is a real threat. That is a real threat, obviously. So naturally, every country who is a player in the world is naturally incentivized to invest in their own defense technology. So for me, that is the fundamentals. That's all I need to know. And then I just look for stocks in the defense sector that have good charts. And the good charts tell me that the people who already have done their research are actually accumulating these things. So I'm not the one who's creating the trends. None of us are. If you're watching this channel, you're probably just a retail investor like myself. However, the major players, the big investment funds, these sort of things, the quant firms that manage a lot of money, they are the ones who actually do set in the trends. They are the ones who, decide what goes up and what goes down in a way. And they leave their footprint not in the news, not in the fucking story of the day. They leave it in the charts because they can't hide their buys and sells. So it has to show up somewhere, and that is exactly where it is. So yeah, anyways, so I like to combine my expertise in technical analysis with just super simplistic dummy thinking. And that's how I come up with my investments. Now, I do use AI a lot as well to kind of help run me through the fundamentals of things. So it's maybe not as simplistic as what I'm stating here, but I do use a lot of AI to figure out, okay, what exactly is going on here? What is this company's sort of shortcomings? Where are their pain points? These sort of things, just to understand, maybe if there's something, that isn't necessarily going to show up in the charts, but might show up later. But for the most part, I'm not looking at balance sheets or anything like this. I'm certainly not watching the news or anything like that. It's like that saying goes, if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. If you do watch the news, then you're just misinformed. So I like to keep things as simplistic as possible. And I do believe that price will always be the most pure form of analysis, unless if you quite literally are an insider yourself, which unfortunately I'm not. Anyways, Red Pill Closet says, good morning, Crown. What's up, man? UMAC weekly monthly. Sure. UMAC, Unusual Machines. Cool name. And good chart. Definitely a good chart here. Weekly, monthly. Both bullish. The question is kind of similar to Walmart and some of the other charts. Does it just go straight to the upside from here off of this higher low at $11? Or does it correct one more time to I don't know, 10 and a half, $11 and then go to the upside? I don't know. I would just generally be betting on upside. And if I had to, I would be betting on upside from here. If it does correct below this month's low, I'd be looking for I don't know, $10 or something like that. But that would still be a higher low. Ultimately, I think that whether this one corrects first or not, I do think that you will be reclaiming these highs and going higher over time. Overall, this is good. Yeah, it's fine. It's do you do this? Oops, let me get out my LARP line brush. Do you do this? Do you do this? Do you do this? I don't know, but all of them kind of lead towards the same destination, I think. I don't really have anything to be bearish about on this chart, especially as long as you're above $7.50, it's going up, man. It's going up and it wants to go up more. Clouded Bussy says, Europort Defense Company, HO on Euronext. Sure, man. I actually do own one of the Europort Defense Technology ETFs. I don't like it. Is it this thing, Thales? I guess. Must be. It's not the best effective technology ETF as well. But hey, this is good. This is good. This is obviously a trading range here, obviously a consolidation range between 217 on the lows and 280 on the highs. I do think that you will very likely bullishly resolve this. It's kind of the same question as the last one. Does it correct first to maybe 225 and then go up, or does it just go up from here? I'd be more biased towards this one going up from here. But don't be surprised too much if it comes down to 220 or 230 first and then goes up. Overall, it's bullish. The question is kind of what sort of trajectory does it take to get there? So it wouldn't be, it's a stock that I probably wouldn't mind owning if I was into European stuff, but I'm a straight American, unfortunately. So as of this moment, I'm not interested in this thing, even though it's not bad. It's not bad at all, honestly. Just, do you get this or do you get this? I don't know. Overall, though, it's something that is probably worth being in, I would imagine. Yeah, long-term great chart. Really fucking good chart here. Looking for something that's obvious on a quarterly, maybe. Not getting it there. Bi-monthly. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit more in a powerful position to just take off from here after a year-long consolidation, basically. Cool. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Fox Kotor. I'm glad you enjoyed that, man. Sam says, isn't Elsa European, not into European stuff? Well, Mr. Sam, not like that. We're not like that. Did you pick up any of the war ETF? Ma'am. So on that pullback, I was thinking of getting some. I ended up not doing it. I ended up not doing it, even though I think that this could have been fine. There was a different stock that I wanted to invest in. It's one that I actually spoke about last week. It was symbol TXT. I said on last week's video that I'm looking for the next pullback to get a position in this, and that's the one that I went into with my available cash. So I don't think war is bad. I just think that TXT is better. So I decided to go with that one. And I already have, plenty of defense technology ETFs. So, but look, if you picked it up there, I don't think it's a bad do. I think it's fine. I think it's also a very easy position to be managing. It's generally just bullish as long as you're above $23. Price action pivot, getting it beautifully right there. No more complicated than that, man. Zonkert says, Grok told me that the next golden pocket above pre-all-time high is 230-ish. I don't think Grok is correct on that one. Still got a ways to go on the technical analysis front, but they will get there. Those AIs are going to get there. Absolutely, man. Let's see what else we got. Check out IDEF, defense stock. Okay. Very appropriately named. Okay. Oh, this one's cool. Okay. I'm going to put this one on my list. This one looks like it wants to break out right now. Super easy position to manage as well. Invalidation below about $13, just basically yesterday's low. I'm going to add this one to my list. I'd like to watch this one a little bit, but this could be interesting. What's the market cap on this thing? Where's my market cap fundamentals bullshit? Okay, not there, not there. Oh, there we go. Nope, still not showing me. Weird. Usually it shows you on this tab here. Am I missing something? Maybe I'm blind, maybe I'm redacted, maybe I'm everything, but I can't seem to find it there. Where's the mark? Almost always it shows the market cap right there. What the fuck? Huh. I don't know what to say about that. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Marcello Dennis? Glad to see you arrived at 200,000 subscribers. Yeah, it's going down now though. It's actually going down recently, man. Been a long way. Yeah, man, long time. I'm long since $63,000, but I think I'm gonna take profits here. Seems like this rally is over in my analysis. What do you think? I think it goes a little bit higher, but look, if you're long from 63, you're up $10,000. I think taking at least some profit here makes a lot of sense. I think that's a good do. I think that's a good. That is a prudent trading strategy, and I would at least take some. I would at least take some. Blind, redacted, and beautiful. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't see it right there, which is weird. Suzu says CF indices. Yeah, we looked at this one on Monday, right? Yeah, good. Yeah, back up towards these highs, I believe. It's kind of what we were looking at last time. It might pull back somewhere around these previous highs between like 110 to 118. Whatever pullback it gets, I think is going to be an opportunity before it makes new highs. This is overall very, very good. Similar to a lot of the other charts, it's like, in my opinion, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. It's very bullish as long as you're above $75. It is absolutely a bullish bias. It's just, do I think you might get one of these after testing like 113 or 112, whatever, maybe come down a little bit for a higher low and then break out, or just, straight up from here? I don't fucking know which one it does that. Generally, I would bet on a pullback first and then break out. But either way, I think that this thing is poised for high. This is very good. It's very, very good. What even is it? It's a chemical agriculture stock. Stonk. Chief Twit says, Crown, I know you don't like Solana. I'm stuck in a large long-term Solana bag at 153. Do you see the chart getting up there this year? I only don't like it because I just don't like things that have shitty charts. Do I think it could get to 150 this year? I think best case, okay, so I'm going to put on like full fucking hopium goggles right now. So understand, in my opinion, even this is very, very low probability. What's up, Mr. MNNG from Denmark? Hell yeah, man. We love the Danish Vikings of the world. In my opinion, best case scenario this year, you'd maybe get up to like 135. I think that this is a disastrous chart. I think that this thing is going to rally from here. And I think that you will rally above $100. I think that you'll get up to maybe like 115 or 120, I think is high probability. 135 would be like my ultimate top. Does it happen? A year is a long time. So it is kind of difficult to say like, okay, definitely not for a year, but I don't know why you took that position. I don't know why you invested in it. Maybe you like the fundamentals or something like that, in which case, okay, sure, that's a different game. But my personal opinion is that you'd be better off suited many other places if you consider traditional markets. Of course, you're in crypto, then your options are kind of limited for things that look somewhat good, but just not the chart I'd be going for, man. Yeah, I think that you are going to rally from here. So I think that you do get a chance to get out of your position. Just where do you get out? I mean, 110 very likely, 120 probably still quite likely, 135 okay, a little bit more hopium, but possible. Above there, I wouldn't be betting on it personally. A year is a long time. A lot of things can happen, but you know, when I'm thinking like a trader or an investor, I'm not going to try to get that move perfectly. I just want to get out of a shitty asset, man. So I'd be taking any opportunity that I get personally and just go and allocate elsewhere. But yeah, that's just me, man. Mr. Moy, peace out as well, sir. And you have a cool day as well. A cool day. Everyone should have a cool day. I'm hoping everyone has a nice and cool day. Cool, man. Rather be hated says, hey, Crown, good day to you as well. Gambling on PHA USDT. Okay, well, hey, you know what you're doing, so all good. Fowler Network. Don't need to say my usual spiel about it's an absolute shitty asset. Look, like I said, most things in this market are going to rally right now, and this thing is no exception. It's already had a pretty impressive rally, in fact, this week, up over more than like 140%. It looks like, so that's pretty fucking good. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to trust anything like this, obviously. Maybe you gun for the 200 simple here at 6 cents. That'd still be another like 20% move plus from where you're at right now. So maybe that's worthwhile. I think absolute best scenario with like the stars aligning, full hopium and everything. Maybe get like 7.5, 8 cents. But, this is my problem with down only assets. It can dump out of nowhere a lot easier than it can pump out of nowhere. Right now, you are in a pump out of nowhere situation. I think it'd be a lot more easy to find a nice short position somewhere around here than it is to try to, carry on with this long personally. But yeah. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do, man. So hopefully it works out for you. You entered at 287. Oh yeah, so you're in big profit right now, man. I wouldn't get too greedy with this. I do think that you probably push maybe a little bit higher, but I personally wouldn't be getting too greedy with that. That's just my views. Rob A says, what's your long-term view on CEG? Got in at 260. Okay. All right. 260. So I think you're probably putting in a local high right here, honestly. You're in profit. You're in pretty good profit. Long-term, not a bad chart for sure. Long-term, definitely not a bad chart. So what's kind of holding me up here is that the 200 simple is so far holding price action back at 330. The way that I look at this, based off of your comment, I'm guessing you're in this for a trade. I would say, hey, you had a really nice position down here. You basically longed the low. You're at your next most obvious area of interest for a pullback. I'd be taking profit there. I do think that you will pull back more from here, but it very well could be that you pull back maybe just to like, I don't know, 280, 290, put in a higher low and then move higher, because this thing does have a bullish trajectory long term. So if you're talking about like very long term, like a quarterly, I do think that you got more upside overall long term. A little bit more difficult there. I would be betting on upside more long term just because of its history. Maybe let's go to like a 6 month or something else. Give me a 6 month, please. Yeah, I'd be betting on that for now. Where would my validation be for just taking the money and run? That would be on a move below 290, just whatever last week's low was. I'd take profit and run, but long-term history is good here. If you're in it for a short-term trade, which it doesn't sound like you are, but if you were, I'd say I'd be taking profit literally right here. So yeah, cool. Bryce Pingo says, hey Crown, what's up, man? Any thoughts on photonics? Okay, let me see. I don't know the ticker of this one. Photonics. All right. Is it this? I'm gonna wait for you to let me know which one it is. I don't know exactly which one it is because there actually are two that have that on NAS. So a ticker would be very, very helpful there, man. Can you look at CRV, the stock or the crypto? Probably the crypto. Probably much worse. But fair enough, we can do it. What do you know? Straight fucking down only, man. Shitty charts become more and more shitty over time. Unbelievable. Look, like I said, most things are going to bounce right now. I think that this thing probably bounced like 29 cents. I think in a best case scenario sort of thing, you might get like 3 1/3 cent, but long term, the direction is down, man. This fucking garbage. Not a company, it's a sector. Oh, okay. All right. Well, then tickers would be very helpful. Symbol FN. These guys make some pretty good guns, by the way, too. I don't think it's the same company, though, but I think it's a Belgian company. I think they were the ones who made the Scar, if you're familiar with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Great gun. I think we looked at this one on Monday or something. I still like it. I'm looking at this at 530 as the next higher low. So a very easy invalidation here on the price action pivot at 531 and 77 cents. As long as you're above there, I'm generally bullish. Below there, I would look for a greater correction down to 490 or whatever. But for now, I'd be cautiously bullish. What's up, MNNG? VKTX. Yes, hell yeah, man. Oh, the fucking Vikings, man, from a real Viking, Denmarkian. By the way, the Danish were like some of the best Vikings. In case you didn't, well, you probably know this. Like, what the fuck am I telling you this for? But for anyone else who doesn't know their history, the Danish had some of the best Vikings. Anyways, Viking Industries. Is this the? Oh, it's a therapeutic side. I was thinking, like, is this the cruise liner? Yeah, so it's kind of like a biotech, I guess, or a pharmaceutical. Generally, I don't like these things. They kind of pump and dump out of nowhere like shit coins. I do think that you are stuck within a consolidation range here. Price action pivot at 43.15 is your upside governor, and the bottom side coming in around 23 1/4. If I had to call it, I think downside first, man. I think that you at least come back down somewhere around here to like 28.70, maybe even all the way to the bottom side of the range here, and then bounce. Long term, probably going to be okay, but I think it's just uneventful and not exciting and ain't much going on for a while until you consolidate this range between 43.5 and 23 1/4. That can take, that can take many months, man. So I think it's kind of like a dead investment right here for the short term. Short term, I think you got a little bit of downside. Probably doesn't break down though, but you got 1, 2, 3 higher lows already, so it's not bad. Long term probably does break out to the upside. I just think it takes a long time, man. I just think it takes a long time. Yeah, the Scar H with hell yeah, man. FN FAL was a classic. Yeah, the FAL is a cool gun, but it doesn't hold up as well actually in real life. It gets jammed a lot. The Scar though is pretty fucking cool, man. It's like it's a long gun, but it's really light for how big it is. I'm excited today. I'm going to the range, going to try out one of my new pieces. Oh man, I'm very excited. I got my first bull pup coming on this Friday too. I bought the Tevor X95. I need at least one bull pup for the imaginary scenarios in my mind. 99S2K says, I like to use RR for identifying potential support and resistance targets. What do you mean RR for identifying, what exactly do you mean? But I also have been just using the 21-55 EMA. The 21-55 almost always get played, but they might not exactly work as like support and resistance. I mean, it depends on what side of the trend it is, of course. Yeah. Okay. You sent before you finished the message. Fair enough. Yeah, Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare was a great game, man. I just played Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Fucking weird. Very weird. It's like my first video game in many months, too. Vahid says, Cores Daily Weekly. Sure, man. Core Scientific. Long-term good, short-term uneventful. I don't think you're going to break down here. I think that you do get another higher low kind of on this green 55 EMA at $14.90 or $15. I just think it's going to be kind of snaking around here for a while, doing something like this, and maybe breaks out to the upside. But range bound in the short term, Then again, monthly should have me biased for a downside test at like 1330. Okay, why am I thinking that on the daily or the weekly? Yeah, because coming off of these, I'd give it a chance to bounce here first. If it takes out this week's low, then okay, yeah, send it down to that number on the monthly at 1330 or 1340, whatever it is. But I give it a chance to bounce here first. Kind of a harder one, actually. Any chance you can check out RXRX? Sure. Recursion Pharmaceuticals, another terrible. It's another fucking pharmaceutical biotech thing. These act like shitcoins generally. Look, it's a down only chart. I'm going to be betting on down only. Can you get these one-off bounces out of nowhere? Sure, but you know, it's a lot easier to get the top of those bounces rather than trying to guess when those bounces happen. I think best case scenario for this month would be like $4, but ultimately this thing is a lot more likely to go to the downside. It's a lot more likely to just dump out of nowhere to new lows than it is to pump out of nowhere to new highs or anything like that. Man, it's bad. This is not investable in my opinion, or at least for me. One moment. Marcello Dennis has an interesting comment. He says, Jeff B says bio is priced like a call. Yeah, kind of like I look at it similarly to that as well. Yeah, you're kind of just buying the lottery ticket and hoping and praying that it goes up. But yeah, I don't like it that much personally. Marcello Dennis says, Crown, the Bitcoin market is now more mature and we are seeing diminishing bear markets and bull markets in terms of percentage. I'm guessing you mean returns. I think around 190,000 makes sense for the next macro high. What do you think? I'd want to see like a confirmed macro low first before I, start to consider macro highs. But just off the top of my head, yeah, I guess it makes sense. This cycle did what for Bitcoin? It did less than a 2x from the previous all-time high, right? So yeah, 82%. So I would be expecting at least less than that from this current high. So I don't know, maybe 50% from that high puts you at what? Probably puts you at 190. Yeah, puts you exactly 190. So that'd still be diminishing returns. Yeah, I think that's logical. But personally, I want to see the next like macro low confirmed first. We might already have it in. It's possible, but still, whether it's a macro low or not, I think it's going to take a while for this one to really get confirmed. Let's see. Thomas Power says, desktop saying that I'm not a scrubber, but phone app recognized me. Yeah, probably YouTube doing YouTube stuff again. Can you analyze IGV? Sure. IGV, so some tech software sector ETF. Wow, big volume on that selling dildo right there. Similar to Bitcoin, this should be a bounce time. Maybe bounce up to like $90. Yeah, I think you got a pretty powerful low in here. You're right off the weekly 200 simple. I think your next move is to the upside 90 to 95 or something like that. Long term, probably good. Well, long term kind of ugly there. 1, 2, 3 drives bearish divergence on caretakers RSI, and you already got the correction to the 21. I do think your next move is a bounce. Just hope you don't get like a nasty rejection somewhere around here, man. El Ray Leon says, do you see any confluence for KNC? Oh God. So this is like a 2017 shitcoin. I remember this one, Kyber Network. The Kyber Network crystals. My crystal coins. Looks great, man. Do you see any confluence for a KNC long around 13.5 cents on the 24-hour time frame? MetaSignals posted a setup. Look, one of the things, I love MetaSignals. I stand by MetaSignals. They've had some great fucking signals, especially with Bitcoin and Ethereum and a lot of the high caps. I hate the altcoin signals, just straight up, man. I fucking hate them. All right. I've pleaded with Nathan many times, their glorious leader. Just fucking forget about the altcoins, man. Just fucking forget about them. Do I think that you're going to hit your targets? I think that this, like I said, whenever you see a chart like this, it can dump out of nowhere, and this rejection happening so swiftly does not make me confident this thing is heading any higher than where it's already at. Whatever high you got right here at 26.5 cents, I think that's your high. Oh, is this a downside setup? No, it's a long. You longed at 1366. You're looking at 1415 and 1580. Assuming this hopefully fired off somewhere around here, I think that you already had your exit because this one already hit all of those targets and more. I think that you might get, you actually might get back to 17 cents or maybe like 16, 17 cents. But yeah, I'd be looking at these as like very likely pullback rejection regions, if not already. This is pretty ugly right here on the 200 simple. Either way, long term, if we fast forward, I think that this thing makes new lows almost undoubtedly. I don't know, did you get one more pity bounce back to these numbers? I think you probably already saw that move, man. I think you probably already saw that move. You think we are being given a free short again? I think if you saw Bitcoin this week, very specifically get up to like 78 or 79,000 bucks, yeah, I do think that you have a free short for a trade, not necessarily for like a hold for forever type thing, but probably comes back down to low 70s at least, or upper 60s. Because I don't think Bitcoin's going too much further than that in the short term, but I don't know, man. I would not be looking for the short right now personally. But yeah, somewhere around 80,000 bucks does make a lot of sense. If it gets there on the first pass, should be a pullback. Is it a tradable pullback? Probably, yeah. If you're just going to be scalping intra-bar, yeah, I would think so. Or it should be. Have you checked Ethereum? No, I haven't. We could probably end on this one too. Let's see, 2150. Yeah, like I said, last week, Ethereum looking actually better on the lows here than Bitcoin. I think that you will see Ethereum rally up to the 200 simple at least, which is 2435. We outlaid a condition earlier last week for any sort of a closure above the February high at 2150 as conducive to extending this rally towards 24-ish. So yeah, I think it's still going up here. I think generally you'll find this rally somewhere around 24, maybe a little bit above, before it gets pushed back a little bit. Sam says, I'm growing a little index and fund account for my daughter when she turns 18. Very nice, Dad. Hopefully she appreciates it. Besides just buying VO every month and doubling down on LTI signals, is there anything else you suggest looking at? I'm a tech sector simp, so I would always go with that. Triple Qs is what I like there. I like defense technology, as you probably know. Other than that, AI, robotics, these sort of things. Those are the ETFs that I go with. The ETFs that I use for those are ITA and SHLD for defense technology, Triple Qs for just general technology, and then for what's it called? Where exactly was I? I just completely lost my train of thought on the last one. Yes, AI and robotics. There's a lot of different ones that you can do. I think it's Robo is the one that I have mostly gone with. Yeah, it's this one, Robo, ROBO. Other than that, man, all good. Bill Norbot says, I'm 80% through the beginner course. Fuck yeah, man. Really excited to hear that. Been finding my system. Thank you for the effort. I really appreciate that, man. And I'm glad that you're getting a lot of value from it. That was really my purpose in creating that, is that I wanted to provide something for people who actually want to learn, who are really actually going to put in real effort, something that is tangible, something that can actually help them. So I'm glad to hear that, man, and more power to you, and awesome. I'm going to be doing the same thing for the options 101 playlist. I'm actually starting to make like pretty good progress on it. So I think I might be able to release it sooner than what I expected, but still, I would still anticipate maybe like another couple weeks, something like that. Yeah, monthly buys and LTI dips. Yeah, that's kind of the way that I do my long-term investments as well. We actually did look at Solana earlier. Cool. I think we'll probably end things on that note. Yeah, I need to go get a new license plate, run a few errands, and then go to the shooting range. That'll be fun. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you on this nice little Wednesday morning, as always. Absolutely love doing these streams. Absolutely love having fun with the community here. And yeah, Bitcoin finally having the rally after a lot of patient waiting here. Like I said, I do think that this rally has more overall, over the next week or two, whatever it ends up being. But I would be a little bit cautious around 80,000 bucks, especially. I don't think it's going to run away or anything like that in the short term. So fair enough. We shall end things on that note. Wishing the best for everyone out there in the world.